Okay, we should be live. I'm going to post this link in a couple places. That way people can join in on our conversation. Post this in the Discord, post it in the Telegram. By the way, if you're not in the Telegram or the Discord, you can find links to the Discord in the video description as always. And the Telegram, I don't actually think I have links to that posted anywhere, but it's out there somewhere. I'm sure you can find it in the Discord. Anyway, all right, so we're good. I'm going to give this a couple seconds for some people to get in, and then we will do our little Q&A. Good morning. Well, afternoon. I slept in a little bit today. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully as excellent as my cup of coffee. So, I've been working on a really big project, and as a result, I know I've talked about this project a lot. As a result, I did not have a video ready today for HiFi-Friday. So here we are, doing another stream. Ooh, good evening over here in Europe. Nice. My question is, I love you. Oh, my heart. But my heart belongs to coffee and my dog. My dog's back there doing things. So, anyway. Gosh, I want to tell you guys about this project so bad. Very soon. Very, very soon. There's going to be a lot more music-related things coming. Can I give the recipe for my ball and spaghetti? Well, here's the thing. I thought about that, but it's more Isaac's recipe than mine. He does some things to it that I don't fully comprehend. The man is a spice master. Is RMAF Part 2 ever going to be uploaded? I really want to finish editing it. I've told you guys before, I have like a mini production company kind of thing. And right now we're working on the biggest thing I've ever worked on. It's a full-on movie, like an hour-and-a-half movie. And that's been consuming so much of my time that I just have not been able to really sit down and edit the RMAF video. Burnt bitter bean water. Yes, it is. But it's delicious. Do I play any kind of video games? I play Destiny. That's about the only game I play, and that's because I never really have enough time to play games. But when I do play games, I like playing Destiny a lot. I got really invested in it a few years ago. And, I don't know, there's just something about the way it handles that I really enjoy. Something about it. It's nice. Plus, like, when I get invested in a game, I'm the kind of person where, like, I really like to spend... I like to spend my time on something that I'm not going to be like long-term invested in, and Destiny's one of those games I can be invested in for years. You got Destiny 2 for free? Then you should play it with me because it's great. And I love it. I'm going to find like 10 minutes to play today because I haven't in so long. So those cows that you guys saw that I unboxed, you guys may have seen that I unboxed some cows. And they're awesome. I accidentally broke them because I put the Cal headphone driver into a Civga SV007 housing. Looks like that. And yeah, it sounded great. And then I broke them, so I have to buy more. But I'm going to review those at some point. That'd be pretty cool. If you don't burn the bean, they won't have any flavor. Well... Actually, there's apparently more of a science to this whole coffee thing than I thought. You're supposed to make them at a certain temperature, and I've just been using really hot water with my pour-over. I didn't know you're supposed to make it be exactly 220 degrees and all this other stuff. I'm going to do that right one day, but I'm just not enough of a coffee snob yet. But I did buy Peter McKinnon's coffee, and I think it's amazing. Did Zag send the Aeolus? He hasn't sent it yet. I think I'm getting it after Z. But I did hear Aeolus at Rocky Mountain Audio Fest, and it was absolutely mind-blowing for what it was. I'm pretty impressed by it. It's kind of insane. 195 degrees to 205 degrees Fahrenheit for coffee. Okay. I have no way of measuring how hot my water is, but I will figure that out at some point. I bet I can get like I'm using just a stove with a tea kettle. I bet I can get like an actual little water heater thing that'll do that. Probably. I clearly know what I'm doing, right? I don't. Next objective for the cows, though, is to get a pair and put them in some wooden cups. I think that'd be amazing. Insta-read thermometer. Ooh, I bet I could do one of those, like those laser thermometer things. I would have so much fun with that. I would just be like, how hot is this? How hot is this? How hot is that? Did I hear the new Diana Fee at RMAF? Yes. Oh, Diana Fee was so good, but God, are they expensive. Diana Fee does treble in a way that hardly anything else does, but Diana Fee is how much I owe on my car. And let me tell you, that's a lot for a portable headphone. Is there another, like, $4,000 headphone that's portable that sounds like Diana Fee? No, there's not. Would I spend $4,000 on a portable headphone? Very unlikely. AFK, hey man. Hey dude. What's up? How's it going? I want to hear your mod, because Josh has been talking about it a lot. Josh just recommended AirPods. I mean, depending on what you're trying to do, AirPods are not terrible. I don't think they're great for sound quality, but neither are the QC35s, and those are the ones I keep closest to me because they're convenient. And I think the whole thing with AirPods is convenience. I can just throw these on, walk out my house, and I'm good to go. Or I just make a phone call, throw these on. You know, start working on edit, throw those on. It's not about quality with AirPods, it's about convenience. Worked on in-game cinematics for the last 2 DLCs for Destiny. No way. That's actually insanely badass. It's... See, like, the in-game cinematics, like the cutscenes and stuff, because they were really, really good. So good job on that. I was crazy impressed by that. The Armenian way to make pasta is to toast it dry first, or with butter in the oven, then to cook it with a small quantity of water so you don't have to drain it. That's interesting. Huh. I've been trying to do like the Asian style of noodles and things lately. I just got a bunch of buckwheat soba noodles yesterday, and I'm gonna make them with some beef broth. That'll be kind of fun this week. And I'm gonna hard boil eggs and put them in a like a teriyaki soy marinade thing for a couple days in the fridge in a bowl, so they soak it all up. Oh, it'll be good. Invest in the lottery. Diana Fee review win. Whenever they send it, they said they are going to send it. Fun fact, I don't know if you guys saw the Rawls, the big ribbon tweeter headphones. Did you guys see that? I put that in my RMAF picks video. Literally, like, they look like K1000s, but it's a ribbon tweeter that just floats in the air outside of your ear. My cousin, who was in the RMAF video, the guy with the kind of curly top hair and the glasses and flannel shirts, that guy, he got a set of the Rawls, and that's really cool. Like, that was his first real entry into the hi-fi thing. Was he won the JH giveaway with the Aslan Kern DAP, and now he's got some Rawls, and that's crazy wicked. Oh, sweet. You'll tell Z to send me the review pair. That'd be awesome. Atom or EL lamp? Okay. There's a lot of controversy over this because the Atom technically measures better. But for me, for some reason, there's something about the EL lamp, and I can't describe it with the technicality. There's something about the EL lamp that just sounds better to me than the Atom. But the Atom is so freaking good. They're both sitting on my desk. That's literally the two things right here. I'm using the... Here. This is going to be a mess for a second. Oh god, what am I doing? This is really dark, I know. But EL DAC, EL amp, Atom amp. And I'm using the Atom as a preamp for my speakers. And a lot of times I'm going back to it and using it as a headphone amp, and it's really, really good. There's something the EL amp does that I just enjoy, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Because up until this point, the EL amp has been one of the most transparent amps I've ever heard. And that includes a lot of very expensive amplifiers. Like, I think that, wholeheartedly, that the EL amp is very fitting for studio use, which I know that's not that's not what it's designed for, but I think the EL amp is entirely fitting for studio use, and that's what I really like the most, is equipment that I think I could use in a studio. Yeah, A6300 is the stream cam right now, but for some reason in video mode on the A6300 I can't control exposure, so I can't actually make it bright enough. And if I put it in manual mode, it does not send the full resolution output through HDMI, so I just have to deal with it being slightly underexposed while I'm live streaming. You're a 3D artist. That's awesome. Thanks from the entire team. Glad you liked it. Yeah, no, I think it's like my favorite game of all time, and I preach about it nonstop, and my friends get sick of me talking about it. Am I going to review the rolls? I'd love to review the rolls. They said they're going to send me some. I have to find an amp powerful enough for them because they get powered off a speaker amp with a little converter box. And my speaker amp is, it's seen better days, so I gotta upgrade there. I'd love to get some monoblocks or something. That'd be pretty sick. A tree just fell on your horse in Red Dead Redemption 2. Press F to pay respects. I have not heard of that. IGSD. Interesting. Is it AK-4490 for only 130? Well, so does the Modi. Doesn't Modi have an AK-4490? And doesn't Fulla? I think Fulla has an AK-4490 also. At that point, I think output stage is probably what matters the most. Another thing that this is kind of interesting. I got the IDSD Pro and the iCan Pro in for review. I haven't messed around with them much. I think something might be wrong with my XLR cables or something like that because I can't get things to quite work properly. But I did get the DAC hooked up and everything, and that's the IDSD Pro is what I was using on the Atom, which is literally a $2,499 DAC, which is just, it's just wacky. I'm gonna be, let me go on Discord. There's a person who's making some Dynalos, and he's gonna be sending another Dynalo, and I can't even tell you how excited I am about that, because Dynalo is like my favorite. Just, Dynalo does magic. You can take anything and plug it into a Dynalo and it sounds good. So I'm really excited to hear that. And that I will probably use with every DAC I have here. EL DAC amp compared to the OWN X1S, X7S, they're all great. I'd have to have the OWNs here side by side to AB. I have a memory of them, but I don't want to say anything about them until I have them side by side to really 100% AB, because DACs and amps are so particular that unless they're particularly good or particularly bad, and they are both particularly good, it would be hard to say which one is better without being able to AB them on my AB rig, which literally is just a switch. I have headphones running into a switch where I can decibel match everything and just flip it and it's on one amp, flip it, it's on the other amp, and I can just send the same signal to both. That's the best way to do it. And even better than that is there's a way to hook it up blind, which is nice. Streaming from manual mode is a bad idea because the camera... should be able to control 6300 with tethering. Probably. I'm running 6300 through HDMI cable through a capture card. But I'm working on a solution for that soon. I actually just got a rig set up for the A6300. You know what? Stay right there for about like 5 seconds, guys. I'm gonna grab something out of my closet. This is the rig I use with the A6300 when I'm shooting my videos. So this is what you guys see from, especially the recent reviews. I just flip this little monitor around on top here, and that's how I can see myself. But this is also, sorry about that, I just bumped my microphone. This is also what I'm using to shoot my big upcoming project that I told you guys about, that I keep hinting at nonstop because it's just, I'm so excited about it. It's gonna be great. Downloading official software from Sony, change the AC speaker into USB mode, and you'll be fine. I might do that. I'm gonna put this back in my closet, and I'll keep answering questions. Is the DT990 Premium would be perfect for first open back headphones? I don't think it's perfect for the first open back headphone. I think that the DT990 Premium 600 ohm is ideal as a companion headphone, not as a primary headphone. I think if you have other headphones that you enjoy, it's a good headphone. Excuse me. It's a good headphone to use as a as like a side can. Kind of like if you already have something and you want something else to like mix things up and have fun with, because a lot of times if you just have one headphone, you'll get bored of it pretty easily. So it's nice to have something to mix things up, and the headphone that mixes things up a lot is the DT990 Premium 600 ohm. I wouldn't use it as your first open back headphone. Send me instructions via Telegram. Thanks, fam. I appreciate it. A good first open back headphone is probably something like the 58X or 600s or 650s maybe. DT880 is great, but DT880 is kind of... DT880 is a headphone that's hard to appreciate until you've been through a lot of other headphones. And then once you can really appreciate how good DT880 is, it becomes a lot more enjoyable. Yeah, 58X are great. I've got some sitting right there. I wouldn't go with the 32 ohms. 32 ohms are a nightmare. You got your dad some 58X for Christmas? Nice. I got something... I can't talk about that yet. That hurts my soul that I can't talk about that yet. Soon. Lots of things soon. I'm making a Christmassy video. And that's not the big secret project, but I am making a Christmassy video. And that's all I can say about that. There's so many things happening right now, guys. Like, I'm doing... This Sunday, I'm shooting 5 weeks worth of content for one of the new series that I'm starting on my channel. And by the end of the month, we're doing a massive production for the channel that's going to involve like multiple cameramen, like a full crew, like we're building a set, like it's going to be insane for this one production. It's just madness. It's just absolute madness. And I'm very excited about it. I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I've been doing so many things on this channel for so long, and I really just want to start adding in the content that I really want to make. And I thought, you know what? Why not? Will I have an ugly sweater in the video? Maybe, possibly. Well, actually, the video I'm shooting Sunday, I'm actually not in the video that I'm shooting on Sunday, except for the outro. There'll be more explaining that. I'm not publishing it Sunday, I'm shooting it Sunday. I don't know when I'm going to start publishing those. But yeah, I'm not actually in that video. But there will be something kind of like an ugly sweater in that video. Oh, there's more questions here. Your DT1990 sounds too tinny. Oh, like probably, yeah, bright coming from the HD600. I mean, it is significantly brighter than HD600. HD600 is going to have a slightly more full mid-range because nothing really beats the mid-range of HD600. That's kind of their strongest point. If you're not happy with the sound on it, you could always try the SonarWorks software, TrueFi, and that'll kind of bring up the mid-range a little bit and bring down the highs. I wouldn't say that's particularly an amp problem, though. If you're using it on a... an Asgard or a Magni or Jotunheim, though, it is going to sound a little bit brighter because of the glare. Apparently, the new DT880 250 ohms have had their treble peak nearly completely removed and a dip introduced in lower treble. Yeah, huh. I mean, be that as it may, I'm very happy with the frequency response of the 600 ohm DT80s. I mean, I keep them hanging on my wall right next to 2 pairs of LCDs, if that says anything. There's the LCD2Cs, the LCD2 2018s with the vegan pads, and right underneath that is the DT880s. And this is on the same wall that has like LX and everything else. So that's the 600 ohm DT880s. They really are pretty great for the price. They have a frequency response very similar to HD800, but they don't sound nearly as sucked out in my opinion. But they also don't present the same kind of soundstage the HD800s do. I mean, it's a budget pair of headphones, but they're very good for their price. I heard the new HiFi-Friday Aria. Crazy enough, that's the one that everyone told me not to listen to at RMAF, that I should listen to all these other things first, so I missed out on that one, and everyone said that it had really thick bass. What I recommend for a second pair of headphones, you have 6XXs and you're interested in something to complement them around the $300 range, something warmer. Modhouse Argon. There you go. Modhouse Argon. They're warm, closed back, planar headphones, and they have massive soundstage. Sounds like exactly what you need. There's a bunch of different pad options. The lambskins are going to have a little bit more treble. Or not more treble, but they're going to sound a little bit more level in the treble, but a little bit brighter on the above 10K range. The protein pads have the widest soundstage, but have a 10K peak. So it really comes down to your preference there. The protein pads is more of the classic Argon sound. But if you have 6XX and you're trying to find another headphone for around $300 that's warm that complement them, I'd go close back, wide soundstage, and warm with the Argon. And if you don't know how to find those, just look up Modhouse Argon on the Google machine. How can your DT1990 sound tinny at all? I find them uneven. Well, it depends on the pads. DT1990 is very, very easily affected by which of the pads you're using with them, because they do come with multiple sets of pads with very different sound. I did listen to those new HiFi-Friday, the SEs. They were interesting. There's the thing. Not many things that HiFi-Friday is doing now really impress me that much, unfortunately. The new eStat, the Jade... Oh, is it Jade V2? Something like that. It was cool. It wasn't bad. It just didn't do anything special to me. Ananda, I will say Ananda was pretty good. I definitely don't have any complaints there. If you'd have to really like the HiFi-Friday sound, because it's very much the classic HiFi-Friday sound. HiFi-Friday 4XX with balanced cable, yes, no. The HiFi-Friday 4XX is a 400i, but less comfortable, at least to my head shape. Some people may like the old headband more. Not a bad headphone. Definitely not a bad headphone. If I was comparing 4XX to 5.8X, I'd say that 4XX is more detailed, a little bit more extended, and maybe slightly wider. But I think that the 5.8X is better tonally and is more comfortable. But I mean, you could 4.8X, or sorry, why did I say 4.8X? That'd be a mad headphone. 4XX is not a bad headphone. It doesn't particularly interest me too much, but it's not a bad headphone, and you could definitely run it balanced if you enjoy it. I'd just mess around with some different pads and see what you like on it. Suede pads are very interesting. Tempted to get ZMF cowhides in your 1990s. That would be really intense. I have no idea what that would sound like. How would I say the 1990 compare the stock M1060C worth the extra $350? Yes. The 1990s are in an entirely different league from M1060C. I'm going to be real. M1060C is... I still stand by the fact that I think that's a great headphone, especially modded. But the 1990 is... It's hard to compare them, though, too, because the 1990 is a professional open-back headphone, and M1060C is a closed-back consumer planar. So they are polar opposite types of headphones for polar opposite use case scenarios. You just got the 5.8X for yourself, and we're thinking about getting the Objective 2 ODAC Revision B combo. It's already 7 to 8 years old. How much are those now? I'd have to look up the pricing on those because it's been a minute. I'm going to look these up, but I'm pretty sure that you should probably just get the Atom. here we go. Standalone ODAC revision B. Yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to go JDS, I don't think that, here's the thing, the age of audio equipment, I don't think matters. Audio has barely changed for the past, what, like 20 years? I mean, aside from companies like Odyssey popping up, and now DSP technology is getting a little bit better, but for the most part, amps and open back headphones have not changed much in the past 20 years. So, I honestly, yeah, you could just get either a Modi or an ODAC, and then a JDS Labs Atom, and you'd be fine. But I definitely, if you're going for a budget amp, I would not pick anything other than the Atom, because it's just stupid good for its price. What do I recommend that uses that has 32 ohms for $200? Oh, well, okay. Do you need open back? Do you need closed back? Are you going, I guess if you're using it on a phone, you're going to be portable a lot. I would go with an IEM. If you're using something on your phone a lot, I'd go with an IEM. Let me go on the internet machine here. Can't remember how much the FH5s are. If the FH5s are under that, then I highly recommend them. But I have a feeling that they're like 50 bucks more. Yeah, the FH5, if you can spring for the extra 50 bucks, I'd go with the FIO FH5 because they're absolutely brutally insane, and that would work out perfect on a phone. Joshua Valor's here. Hey, Josh. How's it going? I just got a message. Very excited about it. It's from my apartment complex and something I don't care about. Will you look at that? 10T2 Pro. The 10T2s are pretty sick. Actually, a lot of people ask me to do the bass mod on them, and I really don't want to because I like the fact that they don't have overwhelming bass. It's a nice change because a lot of IEMs have that thick thumping bass, and sometimes it's nice to have something mellowed out. But it is also nice to know they have the capability of doing that. To hear the Meze Empyrean, yes, it is very surprising to me for a planar. Was I one of the guys that did the USB cable test with Paul McGowan on RMAF? This was actually after RMAF, and yes, I was there and present for all of that, and I brought a bunch of guys with me so they could all do this test. That was very, very, very interesting. We recorded a lot of results, got a lot of opinions from a lot of people there, and did a blind listening test with a good number of people. Now, during these blind listening tests, for a lot of it, I wanted to make sure that everything was as neutral as possible, so I operated the equipment and swapped the cables and had everyone else in the room blind. And sometimes I would swap the cable and sometimes I wouldn't. And the results of that were very much not what I expected. I like to go into things with an open mind, but my initial thought going to PS Audio with this was, I don't think there's gonna be anything at all. This does not seem plausible to me. And by the way, Paul's a great guy. Paul, big thanks to Paul for letting us do this. Out of the blind listening test, the 5 people in the room consistently were able to discern which cable was plugged in. And I don't know how they were able to do this. And no one particularly said this cable is better than that cable, but every time they somehow were able to tell that there was a different cable hooked up or that I hadn't swapped the cable. And these are people that I brought here for this test, and all of them said, no, there's no way any of us are going to tell a difference. And Paul, he sat down and he explained to us a lot of the things that can make it possible for this to make a difference. But I still haven't wrapped my head around it, and I still haven't formed any solid opinions. It was a very surprising experience. And I don't know, before I can be really conclusive on it, I'd have to probably go back and do it again, just because it was very much not what I expected out of this at all. Because this is something that I find generally to be immeasurable. And I feel like if something is not measurable by equipment more sensitive than our ears wouldn't be able to pick it up either. But he described it as not being a difference in frequency response, but being more of a difference in things like decay, affecting small things like jitter and timing. and other things like that. And I need to have a deeper understanding of some of the things that this can actually affect before I can have a conclusive opinion on it. But I did go from being extremely skeptical to now being somewhat open to the possibility of that, simply because that's now what the evidence suggests as per our blind listening test, and for everyone actually getting these results correct, which just, I'm still to this day very surprised by that. So we'll see how that develops in the future. I want to do more testing, and at some point I would like to publish a video on that, but it's such a very sensitive subject. And I know a lot of people in audio have very passionate opinions about that. So I'd want to tread lightly with it and address it in a way where everyone understands that I'm not straight up confirming or denying this is a possibility, but that I just want to present the evidence that I'm able to collect and allow people to form their own opinions based on that. So we'll see how that turns out. I still have a lot of work on that to really get it to that point. I have to figure out a good way to present that, to where we're not going to, you know, get pitchforks outside my window. There were a lot of comments. Joshua is the youngest member of your Rat Pack, right? Yep, Joshua, he's a youngin'. Josh is only like a year or two younger than me, I think. Maybe a year. I don't even know. How old are you, Josh? Be that as it may, Joshua is the fastest growing channel in audio. He's gonna pass me in like a month, flat. What's better to buy, the HiFi-Friday HE400i or the Nighthawk Carbon? HE400i, please, for the love of God, never, ever, ever even somewhat consider the Nighthawks. They are an abomination. They're comfortable, but good God, they made my ears think they were broken. My ears. Not just the headphone. I felt like my ears were broken while I was wearing those headphones. Preference in why, used 1990 Pro or Focal Alire. I would never touch the Focal Alire with a 20-foot pole, but if you get your hands on the Alex, it's an entirely different story, because I would take the Alex in a heartbeat. But the Alire, no, never the Alire. How do they describe the differences? They were talking about symbols and things like that. Let me pull up this. There was a very specific song that we used for most of the testing. What is it? It's on the Random Access Memories album. Is it this one? Yeah, here we go. It's Within off Random Access Memories. Where is it? I'm looking for a specific part. Okay, at around 42 seconds in, there's a cymbal hit, and whenever we would swap it to the nicer one, that cymbal hit, people would start giggling. It was so strange. Hope there's no pitchforks outside my window. There might be. I'll look for torches, too. Like I said, I'm trying not to in any way support snake oil. I'm just going off the evidence that I've been presented so far, which is... The evidence suggests that I need to do more testing. Josh is 23. There you go. He's only like 2 years younger than me. And still kicking my ass in views. Good job, Josh. Cheese says, stop making me feel like an old man, Josh. Cheese, you are an old man. Actually, Cheese, I have no idea how old you are. You might be younger than me. I have no clue. Josh's production values are improving rapidly. Yeah, I convinced Josh to switch to a 4K camera, and then I almost immediately regretted it, because I was like, gosh, darn it, now Josh's videos look like 10 times as good as mine. But no, that's good for audio as a whole. I think that having more audio channels, especially good ones like his, are very good for audio as a community. And with myself getting more invested in all these side projects and only doing reviews like once a week or so, I think it's very good that there's somebody who's dedicated to doing audio and dedicated to doing it at a very high quality several times a week. So I think that's good for all of us. Best closed back portable cans, in my opinion. Oh no. That's so hard because there's so many and so many different price points. Honestly, my favorite thing, if I'm just using a headphone and I'm just on the go and I don't care about sound quality, I just care about portability, is the QC35. And that's just because they're convenient. I flip them on, I put them on my head, I don't plug in anything, and they're ready to go. But a million headphones sound better than the QC35. And if I really want to use something portable and care about sound quality, I'm going to use an IEM. Probably not a headphone. But gosh, IEMs are so expensive. Oh, Can Jam Europe was canceled this year. I'm sorry to hear that. There's always Can Jam New York. That's at the very edge of this side of the pond. Oh, Cheese, you're 29? Well, that's fair. You are an old man, Cheese. Let's see. Don't have a camera strapped to your head. Haha, Zeos jokes. I haven't done a video with Z in a while. We're going to do a cooking thing when I go up to New York in February. That'll be fun. Have I ever got to the point where I'm tired of high-end audio? Yeah, I've been there a couple times. And that's why I switch myself back to headphones like the QC35 every now and then. It gives you a greater appreciation for it, honestly. And there are plenty of times where, you know, like, even right now, I'm not doing reviews several times a week. I'm doing them, like, once a week. That's because, you know, you got to give things room to breathe sometimes. If I sit here objectively going over every detail of a headphone all the time, it gives me no actual space to enjoy them. And it makes the hobby into more of a chore. So, yeah, I think it's good every now and then to just kind of step back. That's why I love, you know, like the Porta Pros. They're amazing, but they're obviously not the Alex. But sometimes it's nice to take a step back and use something that's still tonally good, but isn't going to, you know, drown you in detail, so that when you do go back to your nicer cans, like the LCDs or the Focals or just whatever else, it's refreshing. It's like a breath of fresh air, and you really appreciate it a lot more. I haven't heard of those IEMs, but I would like to give them a shot. The thing is, there's so many IEMs out there. It's really hard to keep up with all of them. Am I ever gonna get into doing 2-channel reviews? Oh man, I think about it a lot. I have a lot of speakers sitting around that I need to review, but my thing with speakers is I really like... My favorite speakers are studio monitors, I'm gonna be real. Like high-end studio monitors like Genelex, but I do have other things sitting around. It's either, for me, it's either I have studio monitors sitting around or I've got like old speakers from the 80s. So at my desk, I've got some studio monitors, but in the other room, I use Magnapans and old Bowers and Wilkins and stuff like that. Speakers are just such a pure enjoyment thing for me that I almost don't want to review them because I don't want to kill the fun. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, that may change one day. Yeah, Porta Pros do sound better than QC35s. I just like the QC35s for their convenience. Because there's not much more convenient than put it on my head, flip a switch, and go. And it's got a microphone, I can make phone calls, all that. Do I like Alex over 1990 Pro? Actually, yeah. I do like Alex over 1990 Pro, as crazy as that is. The Alex is just so dang good. They're hanging up my wall right there. That's what I keep looking at. Thoughts on Ether C Flow? It reminds me of a planar icon. That's about the best I can say. It reminds me of a planar icon that's a little bit lighter. But I still kind of like icon more. I'm going to be real. I think it's something to do with the impedance. I tend to like higher impedance dynamics. But planars are nice too. I mean, I've got LCDs here that I absolutely love. You often force yourself to listen to KSC 75s for a day and then switch to something like LCDs to refresh yourself. Yeah, it's a good thing to do. It's good to have a break sometimes. Have I auditioned the Chord Hugo? No, I haven't with some of the other gear. I have used the Hugo and the Hugo 2. Is it Hugo 2? I don't remember which one I specifically used. I used a member of my community's Hugo. Is this one? Yeah, it was the Cord Hugo 2. That's what I was messing with. It was a black Cord Hugo 2, I think. Yep, that's it right there. I just looked at a picture of it. That thing was pretty awesome. I'm gonna be real. There's a feature that simulates more of like a speaker sound by cross-feeding some channels together, and that was very interesting on HD800s to hear. What do you use to clean my higher-end headphones? How much damage could a termite do to a ZMF can? I don't even want to imagine that. I don't have enough experience with termites to know. When I do clean my headphones, I'll take the pads off. Usually pads I just end up replacing. But the actual headphones I'll sometimes clean with microfiber cloth to dry them. But I'll use a Q-tip with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. And then I'll dry it with a microfiber cloth. That's usually what I use to clean out little cracks and crevices. Mostly because isopropyl alcohol, and you might want to check and make sure your headphones aren't made out of any materials that may be reactive with isopropyl alcohol, which is obviously rare, but still. Isopropyl alcohol is nice because it does not, it's not going to be conductive with electronics. It's not going to hurt electronics. How do you listen to your music? CDs, vinyl, streaming services. 99% of the time I use streaming services simply because of their extreme convenience. But I used to have a vinyl collection. I do enjoy vinyl. CDs, occasionally. It's just, I like to consume music in pretty much all formats. I mean, I even have a Walkman that I carry around, like an old cassette Walkman that I use every now and then with cassette tapes. Because Type 2 cassette tapes are better than a lot of people remember, in all honesty. But I've used reel-to-reel, all kinds of stuff, and for reviewing's sake, I'll usually just use FLACS and just listen to digital stuff. But for personal enjoyment, I'll branch out into CDs, vinyl, and tape. Just because why not? I mean, it's all different flavors, and it's nice to mix things up every now and then. I'll do this for a few more minutes, and then we'll wrap it up because I'm getting a ton of messages. And I got to run a couple errands while business hours are still up today. Will this be uploaded after? Yes, this will automatically upload to the channel when the stream is over. If I could go back to when I first got into the headphone hobby, what would be the advice you'd give yourself in regards to headphones? I would tell myself to not listen to Orpheus first, because one of the first headphones I ever heard was Orpheus, and it ruined me after that, and I started hating everything. I think it's good to start cheap and work your way up through headphones. Don't just go straight for the most expensive thing because you won't be able to appreciate it. It took me a while before I even started YouTube. It took me, listening to headphones for a few years before I really could appreciate the differences higher end ones had to offer. And I think going straight into higher end headphones, there's a lot of things you'll miss coming from cheaper ones. Hey, Isaac's calling me. I'm going to put him on speakerphone for a second. Hey, I'm doing a stream. What's going on, my dude?
Sorry, dude. I can call you back later if you want.
Well, I'll be wrapped up in probably 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, just hit me up then.
Awesome. All right, talk to you then, dude.
Science thing, and it's interesting.
Perfect. All right, I'll give you a shout as soon as this is over.
All right, see ya.
Peace. But yeah, I think it's good to start small and work your way up. Like, use things like, like I say 600 to 650s because they're like the perfect middle ground, but I think that's an excellent headphone. But I'd start even lower than that, maybe. Like, just use like something like a 598 or something even smaller, or like a 58X for a little while, and then upgrade to something a little bit better and use that for a little while and work your way up to an end game. The longer, like, being able to draw out this process and kind of enjoy the journey more than just the end game, it makes the hobby last a lot longer, and it makes your enjoyment of the hobby last a lot longer. And when you finally get to that end game point, you appreciate it a lot more. And obviously you end up spending more money because you end up buying several cheaper cans along the way. But I wouldn't jump straight to the end game. I would enjoy the journey and enjoy your way to the top. Because like I said, audio hasn't changed much for a long time. There have been very good headphones around for a very long time. I mean, you know, experiment. Get like some old vintage cans off eBay, like some, you know, like some 580s or something, or some old orthodynamic Yamahas, or just whatever. Just have fun with it. Have fun with it and enjoy what you're doing, and work your way up to the end game slowly. Got a little bit sentimental there for a second. Do I like any Mr. Speaker's headphones? Yes, Volce is like one of the best E-stats I've ever heard. It was great. Super great. You can definitely tell a difference. Do you think there's more of a placebo than anything? I mean, it's hard to say, honestly. Aside from personal audio, do you go into live concerts or orchestras? Yes. However, I think hearing protection is very important for live events, and I definitely am a big advocate of hearing protection. But my first introduction into audio before studio was, I was a live sound guy, live AV guy, doing live sound and mixing in venues. And then I moved from venues and doing live sound into recording studios as an engineer, and then later as a mastering engineer. And owned my own studio. That was great. Owned my own studio for a few years. And then decided that I wanted to do YouTube, and started just doing hi-fi on here. But a lot of things I find that the vast majority of my knowledge about audio will definitely call back to my studio days, and the things that I learned mixing and mastering. That's why a lot of headphones, when something is missing to me, I don't enjoy them nearly as much. And that's why I thoroughly enjoy very good studio monitors, because for me, one of the best listening experiences is when I know that I'm not missing anything, when I know that everything is presented accurately. Because I don't take enjoyment from a set of high-end headphones that are taking away. They're still very detailed, but are taking away from the music. I want everything to add value. And a lot of that comes from spending a long time trying to, you know, equalize studio monitors and make sure that I'm trying to get as much out of them as I possibly can, and trying to make sure that I can hear every ounce of a mix on every set of speakers I possibly can, and try and make it sound as good as it can across the board, and realizing that there's so many consumer cans that are just subtracting from what engineers spend so much time making. And that kind of kills me. That's why I really don't like a lot of consumer audio, and that's a big part of why I find headphones like the 5.8X and the 600 and 650 to be great, is because they present, I mean, I know that they're a little bit flavored, but they present mostly everything. You're not missing much out of them. And that's why I really like the Alex, and that's why I really like studio monitors, and that's why I really like a lot of the things that I like. Biggest headphone accident I ever had? Well, probably when I obliterated some M1060s while modding them. That was a long time ago. That was more than a year ago. I accidentally sent one of the magnets straight through the Mylar. Whew, and I had to stop modding them for a few months. That's when I was looking for a substitute for vegan pads. Every time you think there's an endgame, there's something else that surprises you. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how this hobby goes. There's so much out there, it's impossible to have explored it all, but when it really comes down to it, you'll find a lot of similarities, and you'll find a recurring trend. Genelec or Adam? Genelec. Genelec 100% for me. Definitely Genelec. I don't really like ribbon tweeters in studios, I'm going to be honest. Ribbon tweeters just, I have a hard time mixing on ribbon tweeters. There's something about them that just does not sound right to me when I'm trying to solidify a mix. And it's very easy to accidentally make things too bright or too dark on them. So I much prefer using a dynamic, particularly for mixing. I really like the Bowers & Wilkins Diamond Series tweeters that are made with a synthetic diamond material. It does not resonate at any audible frequency, but it's still a dynamic. Those are some of the best tweeters, in my personal opinion, for mixing highs. If I embarrassingly bought Beats Bose Skull Candy products when you were young, thinking they were amazing, yeah. When I was in like middle school, I had Skull Candies, When I was in high school and I had my first job, I bought several pairs of Beats by Dr. Dre, the first generation of them. I own a pair of Bose right now. I mean, and I just, like I said, it's just because they're convenient more than anything. I know they're not good headphones, but yeah, no, I've been there. I've bought Beats, I've bought Skull Candies, I've bought all those things, and at those times in my life, I thought they were the hot shit, but we all got to make it through that journey. And then like I said, I went from those to some Sony cans, and I went from those Sony cans to some really cheap Sennheisers. I think they were, let me check it out. Let me see if this is the right one. No, maybe it's these. Oh, what is it? There was an old set of Sennheisers. The Sennheiser HD203. That's exactly what they were. I went from... wow, these are expensive now. Well, back when I got them, they were like $18 brand new. Sennheiser HD203s, and it really opened my eyes up a lot. Coming from like several $100 like Beats headphones and crap like that to like $18 Sennheisers. And then I worked my way up and eventually got 650s and used 650s for years and years and years and years and years after that. Brought the same pair of 650s up through my time getting into audio, through my time mixing live, through my time as a studio engineer, through the entire time when I owned my own studio, and even through most of having this YouTube channel, and didn't even get rid of 650s until I got the Focal LX. And honestly, I still want some 650s again on the side because they're just so much, they're so nostalgic. I have a little bit of sentimental attachment to 650s now at this point, if you can't tell. You got EL-Amp today, still like it? Yes, and I'm still using it. EL-Amp is still my primary amplifier. Why are people so manipulated that Beats headphones are the best? Because good advertising. That's why companies like Beats are very popular, is because good advertising. You walk into a store and they have them sitting up at a kiosk and you can try them all out and they make them look nice and fancy and they have great advertising. That's really what it boils down to. They're the products that are pushed foremost as a premium product, and they have excellent advertising. You don't go into a Best Buy and find LCDs and focals, even though they're significantly better. But, you know, people want to wear headphones that celebrities are wearing, and they hear, oh, this person's famous in music, and their name is on a headphone, therefore it must be amazing. It's all about marketing. That's the reason why a lot of people like Bose stuff too, though, is because it's well marketed. You go into a store, they usually have a very well-tuned demo set up, and you just take them home, you set them up, and they're ready to go, and that's it. It's good sales. Yeah, a lot of people just gauge how good something is based off how much bass it has. They've never really had a chance to experience much more than that. That's because in a lot of consumer situations, you really don't find the opportunity to listen to something really good. And a lot of people I know, when they hear like something really good for the first time, they're like, I had no idea that my ears could hear these sounds, which is crazy. I feel like it's sad that a lot of people miss out on that, but audio technology is getting better and better. And, you know, now thanks to the age of the internet, more people than ever are getting headphones like, 598s and stuff like that. And as much as I hate M50Xs, M50X is a step in the right direction from things like Beats and crap like that. M50Xs are still garbo, but people are headed in the right direction. It's an improvement over time. The internet's changing that. And audio is getting more popular, and as it gets more popular, people are going to be able to hopefully independently do more and more research and get smarter and smarter about these purchases. So we'll see how that changes over time. Are the Alexas worth it because you want to get in-game but are expensive for anyone? I mean, the Alexas are super worth it, but I think that it's also worth working your way up to your end game. You know, enjoy some things along the way, and don't rush straight to your end game. Like I said, take your time, enjoy some things in between. You have plenty of time to reach your end game down the road. You got to go to work, Cheese. That's fair, because I got to hop off here in just a minute. can I imagine the low end in the future? I think that low end headphones are going to get better and better. The technology, headphones haven't improved drastically over the past 20 years. Like I said, it's been relatively the same, but now the tech is just getting cheaper and cheaper, which is good. And as things get cheaper, I mean, there's obviously, we're seeing high-end headphones that are getting more and more expensive, but I think that technology is finally trickling down to the more affordable headphones. Am I still using the MDR1As? Yeah, they're hanging up over there. I still use them every now and then. I haven't tried the AM2 yet. So please don't get robbed, cheese. Try not to do that. So anyway, all right, guys, we're 55 minutes in. I feel like this is pretty awesome. This will be uploaded immediately after this. And yeah, I'll try to do another one of these pretty soon. And I'm going to try and have a review up reasonably soon for the next HiFi-Friday. We'll see. It depends on how crazy these big projects get. But I'm very, very, very close to being able to tell you guys what I've been working on. And I really appreciate everyone for sticking around and supporting the channel while I'm delving into these new and exciting projects. But anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.